Thank you. Well, there's a couple of terms I'm going to use in this story that are not politically correct, but I'm not changing them, and they're not terrible, but I just don't send me letters, okay? I'm going to leave them with original terms because for the time that they were appropriate. And the time, it was 1963. My twin sister Carol and I were 13, and we had just moved to Pleasanton, which was kind of a cowboy hick town in those days. My father had lost his job in Walnut Creek, and he had to take this job in Pleasanton, and we didn't know anybody, and my mother had died 3 years before, and so it was early summer. We were bored and lonely and didn't know anybody. But suddenly we heard that the county fair came to town. The Alameda County Fair came to town. Now, we lived on West Angela, anybody who knows Pleasanton, which was a couple of blocks from the front gate at that time. And my father was really, really strict. So I don't know how this happened. We convinced him to buy us a 2-week pass where we could go to the county fair every day we wanted to. So he says, girls, stay together, be careful, and don't talk to any of those carnies. They're dangerous. Yes, Daddy. Now, I'm at the age 13, I think parents are all stupid. Well, I just went with, yes, Daddy. And the next day, we go off to the county fair. We get in the gate, flashing our little passes, and the sounds, the calliope, we hear that in the background, and then screams, it's the tilt-a-whirl. You hear that, and then I see the Ferris wheel going in the far back, and it's got some neon lights. And I go, wow. And then the smells. There's popcorn smell everywhere, and cotton candy. And, oh yes, the 4-H building. We walk in, and there's a low stage, kind of like this one, as we get in, and announcer says, step right in and see the genuine Indian princess do her dance. See her tommyhawks and her tents and her scalps. Step right in. And I'm naive. Yeah, Indian princess, I'm here. And then I say to my Carol, maybe this is the Indian princess that we saw on Roy Rogers last week. You think? I'm just mesmerized. So there's an old man in a big feather headdress sitting down. Dum, 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 dum. He's playing a drum. And out she comes out of the teepee. And she's a beautiful young girl, maybe 16. She has long black braids. And she has a leather skin dress and moccasins and one little feather, and she's doing a little dance to the music. And she comes out, and I'm just mesmerized and so impressed. I said, Carol, isn't this great? Yeah, I want a hot dog. I'll meet you over by the pony. She goes off. But I stand there because I just thought, wow, this is the Indian princess. And then she comes over to me. She says, hi, my name's Cherokee. Do you live here? Yeah, I live just down the street. My name's Claire. Well, we start to talk. You want to go get an ice cream cone? I said, yes, of course. And we start walking off. And is Cherokee your real name? And we go on and we talk about boys and clothes and travel, all the things that teenage girls talk about. And I am so excited to have a friend. And, that night we go home, and Daddy says, "How was it?" "It was fine, Daddy. I went and saw the Indian princess today. That was really fun." "Okay, well, you guys be careful and just stay away from the carnies." So a couple days later, Cherokee takes me to the racetrack. In those days, there was horse racing at the Alameda County Fair. I don't know if it's still going on or not. Still is? Yeah. And you could also smell that from the front gate, by the way. We go over there, and she introduces me to Bobby. Bobby is my height. He's a jockey. And very good looking, and I'm immediately in love because I'm 13. And he's gorgeous. And because he's my size, I don't realize that he's 25 years old. But he was a perfect gentleman, so nothing bad happened. He took us inside and introduced us to his friends, and then he said, "And best of all, I want you to meet my horse, the family jewels." He was a beautiful brown horse. I pet his nose. He was so great. And I thought of Bobby as my boyfriend for the rest of the 2 weeks, as much as a 13-year-old knows what that means. And I'm knowing people here. Well, the second week, Cherokee says, "Do you want to meet some real gypsies?" "Oh, geez, I've already met a real princess. Yeah, sure, I want to meet real gypsies." And I've got this picture of what I'm going to see. Well, she takes us over to this booth where you throw those baseballs and you knock down a bottle and you get a teddy bear. And the couple's name was the Boswells. But they just looked like us. They came in sweatshirts and jeans, but they were really nice too. They weren't scary. They were kind, and they introduced us to their son, Vano. He's about 14, has a big crush on Cherokee. It's obvious. And he shows us, "Hey, I'll show you how to get the real teddy bears. Here, you see, here are the ones in the front. Everybody tries for those, but they're really, really hard. What you really want to do is the one over here on the far right, and that one's really easy. And you get the teddy." And sure enough, we got teddy bears. So, the teddy bears, maybe I wonder if I still have them. The 2 weeks had to come to an end, and I went around and said my goodbyes to the Boswells. "Hope I see you next year." And I went to the racetrack where Bobby was riding the family jewels. "Hi, Bobby, I'll see you next year." And I went to the teepee, and I hugged Cherokee, and I said, "Thank you. See you next year." But I never saw those friends again, those carny friends. But they had been there. They had been my family and my friends in a time when I was very lonely and I needed them. And you just find your friends where you land.